Good morning, YPC League. It is your commish coming to you from YPC headquarters. It is November 20th at 7:52 in the a.m. Didn't have time to get this done last night, so here I am. I think this is an important wrap up because it will be one of the last wrap ups of the week. Um, of the year. But I wanted to cover some things while I have all you guys here before we go and head on to playoffs. I'm going to start with make these wrap ups kind of short and sweet for the main reason that everybody knows what everybody's at, kind of, so to speak, where everyone needs a win. Some people don't need a win. Everyone can see the standings. But we will start with, excuse me, we will start with the high score of the week, which was Santa Cruz TDs and beer. Joey scored 166 to Took's 116.5. That 166 puts, I believe, and I'll touch on it later, I think that was 4 times this year that Joe has the high score, which gives him $100. Congrats, Joe. You got your money back, man. First year. And you still have a chance at making the playoffs at 4-7. You needed a win. You got to win. With this matchup, the thing that I see going forward actually for Took is Cooks was actually doing some stuff for you, and now I see that you have Gordon in there. And Gordon, I don't know how he's going to do with the being gone all season, and who knows if he's still smoking pot. So if he's still smoking pot, he may not be very energetic or enthusiastic. Well, he probably is going to be enthusiastic, but he just may not feel like catching any balls. So, and the fact that he's been out all season long, that kind of would concern me as an owner. Whatever, you know what I mean? You're going to do what you're going to do. And it doesn't look like there's many options out there on the waiver wire either. You have Des Bryant coming back. You kind of were in a bye week hell, but you only had 3 guys on bye. But Des Bryant's a key player, and Chris Johnson, I don't know. I saw that you picked up a running back, which is good. I mean, a quarterback, which you may need going down the stretch. And then with Joe, Aaron Rodgers, the guy's a beast. Evans and Green. Those 3 guys you beat Took with those 3 guys. So nice job. You got the win. Moves you to 4-7. Moves Took to 6-5 and dropped him down in the standings. So I believe he's still going to the playoffs. It's not a big issue there. And you don't want to be losing going into the end of the tournament, but it is what it is. You can only do so much. Sometimes you guys just don't produce. 116 to 166. The next game we're going to do is going to be Busta. Busta played Denny. Let's see if I can find you guys. Here we go. And excuse me. The score there to Busta and Denny was 114.1 to 134.9. Denny won. Busta needed that win to stay out of the cellar. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. Tom Brady didn't really put up a lot of points because they were going to Gray. So that kind of sucks. Denny is 6-5 and in 4th place in the AFC. The big thing here, Luck and Lacey. Lacey starting to get it going, and then you had Hawkins for Cleveland, who scored 21.7 points. I don't know. I had him last year, but he's kind of every other week. So it looks like this week you don't start him, and then in the first week of the playoffs, if you make it, start him against Buffalo. But he's playing Atlanta. But this guy it looks like every other week almost. So you get it when you can. You know what I mean? And then Sanu, he didn't really produce anything, I guess, because of Green being back. But Denny, you get the win, moves you to 6-5. The next wrap up or the next team, and Busta needs to get a win so he stays out of the cellar and a chance of paying that $50 to the champion. Which reminds me, we'll go to the next one, who's got a very good chance of paying $50, and that's Steel Rubin. Thanks to his nephew, it was 132.3 for Rude to 106.9 to the South Bay Longies. South Bay Longies, I don't know what's going on because you started off great. You're actually maybe it was you started off pretty decent if I remember right. Let me look real quick before I start speaking gibberish because I thought you started off all right. I know that Uncle Benji's been going crazy, and that's nice to see. He falls down, and gets back up. So loss, win, win, loss, loss, win, loss, loss. No, you just lost 4 in a row. From week 8, you lost for a month from week 8 to week 11. That's that's rough. I've had those years. That's shitty. So you were 2-2 after 4 weeks, which isn't bad. For some reason, I thought that you were doing better, but that's still good. 500 is good. Um, unfortunately, Uncle Rubes, you lost this one. Root, and it wasn't a very high scoring game. There weren't a lot of high scores this week, but Ben Tate, that guy's a chump. -9, excuse me, -0.9. That's bullshit. And he's supposed to be a premier back there, and that's just not happening. And with Peyton Manning scoring 28.4, and Russell Wilson scoring 28, when you see those two numbers, you're like, okay, I got a chance to win. Especially with the guy who has Manning on his team. And then Macklin, that's been a nice pickup. I have Macklin in another league, Rude, and he's been producing pretty steadily. And Halu, not too bad. The thing, Uncle Rube's here, and I feel you. When we had our our keeper league is when I drafted Peyton Manning when he had his neck surgery. It's very similar to you drafting Adrian Peterson at number 6. I saw that I did a little recon, saw you drafted him at number 6 in the first round. Very difficult to have your first round pick not pan out scoring any points. So I feel for you there. I'm sorry. There's always next year. This year's not over. You're 3-8. You got a chance, but you still got a little bit of a pulse. So I wish you the best going forward. Rude, wish you the best going forward. Good game, guys. Rude, congrats on the win. We're going to do Jimmy and the Lions then. Let's see what the score. Yeah, 128.5 to 89.3. That was the lowest score of the week, 89.3. Jim, what happened over here? Robert Griffin's a chump. And he had Cutler on the bench, I saw, with his biggest game of the year. So, Cutler is one of those dudes I just stay away from. I don't even draft him. It's kind of like my rule of thumb. I don't draft any New England Patriots backs because it's just like a carousel over there. Excuse me. It just goes, you don't know who's going to start. You don't know what's going on over there. So, with Lions then, you had Flanner, Cam, and Benjamin. They all blew up. So, that's nice. You got the win there. With McCoy, it's just one of those things. He's just not doing what he's supposed to be doing this year. Unfortunately, but you did get the win, 6-5, moves pound Joey's sister to 4-7. That name may have cursed you, Jimmy. I'm just letting you know. And speaking of Joey's sister, she's doing well. We're at 38 weeks and he's ready to pop. So baby's coming, baby alert anytime. The last game is going to be Sheep and me. Sheep, you got the win with Jamal Charles. That's the one. That was the difference in this game. That's all I have down here. I had too many points on my bench. That's the thing that sucks. When you can get a win, you need to get the win with the right combination. Dalton and Matthews on the bench hurt me. So, and then Jamal Charles scoring 32.8. I think that was it's the most he scored all season, and he scores it against me. Which brings me, that's the end of the wrap up, which brings me to the point where I was looking at the standings, is that I have the most points forced. Hopefully will stay, and that'll get me $100, get my money back. And then I have 1,681 points against. So the next closest person with points forced isn't even in the 1,600s. But I'm thinking I should get the 100 and 150 for both of those. I think that would work out. Because the next closest one with points forced, it looks like Denny with 1571. Yeah. So Denny will get it $50. And there's some people that are close, so that's going to be a tight race. We got Ruben with 1546, Took with 1546, and then Rude's got 1512. If he's got a huge game, he's got a chance. And then Joey, 1537. And East Street Raiders is at 1507. So I would say anybody in the 1500s, long story short, that's gonna give him a chance to win the $50. And if you have a huge game, you might get the 100. But 1,700, I'm very happy with that. I'm not very happy with the points against of 1,681. If I could have turned that number down to like Shit, Joe. I mean, the Chink has 1675. Sorry, I didn't see that. So that's why, unfortunately, with you though, that kind of spells why you're in the situation you're in at 4-7. So this week, I don't know. You might have no because you'll be fighting now, Joe. He's. I think you're statistically out of it, Jim. Unfortunately. So in the NFC, we got Rudy playing Denny. And Joe called me last night, wanted to know what's going on with the schedule. The last week of the season, number one place, we play divisional. So we can vote on that. If you guys don't want to do that, I have no big deal, no issue with that. I think it's nice, though, because it kind of jockeys things around to where people – because if I was in Benji's spot, I know that if I beat Ruben, I still have a chance with points. You still have a chance at taking first place overall at 8-4. However, if Rudy wins, he's 8-4. So if Rudy there's all these what ifs. But if Rudy loses and East Street Raiders beats Ruben, Rude could edge everybody out with points and have it's close. You guys are all close. Could edge everybody out and get $300. Everybody wants $300 for the number one seed in the YPC. So, well, maybe not everybody, but those guys are in the top. I take $300. Go give me I got an Xbox One, but you get an Xbox One. Which reminds me, after this, I'm gonna go play it. So, I think you guys need to get on. I got the Halo 1, 2, 3, 4. It's supposed to be dope. Let me touch on. I wrote down the top 5 players. I thought it was interesting to touch on that. Getting excited over here. So QBs, number 1, Rodgers, Luck, Manning, Big Ben, and Brady. Big Ben had a 70-point game, but those are the top 5. Rodgers, Luck, Manning, Ben, and Brady. And Rodgers has about a 20-point lead on Luck. Running backs were Murray, Forte, Bell, Foster, and Lynch. I didn't think Lynch would be in the top 5, but he is. And I anticipate Bell, he's only 10 points off from Murray. With this weather coming up and it becoming cold out there in Heinz Field, I think Bell's could take the points. I don't know about the rushing title, but the points. Wide receivers are Brown, Nelson, 40 Nelson, D. Thomas, Macklin, and E. Sanders. The thing that I want to point out here is 2 of those top receivers are Broncos, which I think is pretty impressive. Tight end is the Animal Gronk, Graham, Olsen, Thomas from Denver, and Bennett. I didn't even think Bennett was in the top 5, but that's interesting to know. So that's why I kind of do these things. Gronk is an animal. He's about 30 points more than Graham. So the guy's just fucking amazing. I love watching him play, by the way. He's that touchdown he had last week where he was bouncing off fools and dove into the end zone was a cool play. The defenses are Eagles, Dolphins, Texans, Cards, Bills. I could see the Cards being in there. Eagles, I didn't anticipate. Dolphins, possibly. But what I'm trying to get at with this is a lot of those defenses that are ranked high, sometimes you just go with a gut and you get these guys, you get these defenses that put up. The last week of the season, the interesting thing is going to be what goes on between South Bay Longies and Red Hot Julius Peppers. Busta and Theo Rubes, whoever loses has a really, well, put it this way, if Theo Rubes beats Busta, Busta's going to spend some money, $50 to the champion this year because of his points force. Because Santa Cruz, there's no way, even if I beat Santa Cruz, he'll have the same record as one of those guys down there possibly. So anyways, that's going to be interesting. But if Busta wins and Santa Cruz wins, then that's not good for Busta. Well, it looks like Busta and South Bay Longies are going to be out of the playoffs regardless because of numbers and points forced. On the other side, Sheep, you got 1495. Yeah, if you win and Took beats my dad, you got a chance of getting in because of points forced. So tune in next week. Next week for the wrap-up, I'm calling out Busta. Busta will do the Week 12 wrap-up, please. The other thing that I wanted to touch on before we leave is the draft keep for next year. We will do a draft keeper. I've decided that. I want you guys to vote on the round. I'm projecting the 6th round. Anybody drafted after the 6th round or after, you can choose to keep on your roster for the next year. He will take whatever slot you draft him at in 2015. He will be drafted in the same round in 2016 and possibly 2017 if you choose to keep him. When you keep him, you don't have to keep him the following year, but you can choose to keep him or somebody else from your draft. So, say for instance, you kept him for 2016 year and he didn't pan out, you could throw him back into the pool, and you could keep somebody from the last year's draft. So it gives you a little chance of whoever you draft, you can possibly keep them for the next year as long as it's from the 6th round or after. The other thing that we've been talking about from a commissioner standpoint and secretary and paperwork, if you draft him, he's yours. And you can keep him. You have to draft him. You can drop him if he gets hurt, whatever. You can drop him if he gets hurt. You can drop him if he's not producing. But from my standpoint, if I look at the draft from last year, I just go and I can see it's already documented. I don't have to go and follow and look at each individual player. So from the technical standpoint, it's going to be easier. You draft him, he's yours. The only way you can keep somebody is if you draft them. You can't pick somebody off the waiver wire as it does awesome and then you keep them. It's a draft keeper league. So there hasn't been a lot of responses, but let me know what you guys think about that. I think it'd be a cool wrinkle to add, kind of like we did the keeper one year, and we didn't know everyone voted to kind of do away with it, just like everybody voted to do away with the 2 quarterbacks. So I like the 2 quarterbacks. We posted that up earlier. It didn't get a very warm welcome, so no big deal. But the Draft Keeper League will be in effect for the 2015 draft. Busta will be doing the wrap up next week, so let me know. The only question I have is what round do you guys want to do it after? 6th round, 7th round, 8th round, something like that. I propose 6 because then it's still going to be somewhat interesting with a player because he may be decent, and you want to have some kind of decent player that you can keep to make it worth the whole Draft Keeper League. All right, so good luck this week. We got Dirty versus Denny. Took versus the Lions Den, Sheep versus Pound Joy's sister, Rubes versus East Street Raiders, me versus my brother-in-law, and then Busta versus Uncle Rubes. The other thing is tune in tonight and watch the Raiders or laugh at the Raiders. I don't know where they're at. It doesn't look like they're gonna get a win because they got to play the Chiefs twice, the Rams, and the Bills. The Bills on the road, I believe. And those are all tough games. I feel for you guys. I saw the picture of Uncle Rubes with your paper bag. That cracks me up. You guys have a good week. Enjoy the game tonight. It's an AFC divisional showdown. You guys have a good weekend and good luck this week. Hope to see some crazy stuff on Sunday. All right. Peace.